Hi Gemini, great to see you. Just in time for your Gemini February 2020 reading. A couple of announcements before we start. Many people have asked me whether they can have a private reading with me. And I do readings, of course. I've been doing them for many years. I've now set some time aside from other activities that I've been pursuing to allow YouTube audience now to have readings if they like. So you can email me by having a look at the email address and just emailing me at the address which is in the description box below. The other thing is that because of the change in my work flow, what I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to upload videos in the first week of the month. So for example, in the first week of February, or probably towards the end of it, something like that, it will be the videos for March and so on for each of the months after that. That's because these things take some effort to get done, and I need to allocate the appropriate time in what seems to me to be a busy life, which gets busier and busier the older I get. The other thing is that, interestingly, many people have asked me what is the artwork which is behind me, and it is this. And so there you are, your curiosity satisfied. Now, let's get things underway. I'm going to use a very interesting tarot deck today, but first of that I'm going to set a theme for your month using some indigenous artwork which will be appropriate to you, and it is Victory. How pleased we are to see that. Because of the nature of the tarot, and it'll be different to some of the readings which you will have seen from me because of the deck that I'm using, I'm going to use some playing cards which will also give, I think just for your interest, a bit of a kick at the end to see what is in store for you during a particular month. And let's see what they are, and then I'll tell you at the end of the video what they happen to be. There's the 10 of Spades. There is the 7 of Spades. What do we have here? There is the 5 of Clubs. Okay, now you go over there and let's get a lot of black cards there, which can be very good, I have to tell you. All cards are good for me. They all speak to me and they all have good things to say. And they're all here for your benefit, because the spiritual energy which I access is one which is here for your good, because you have been born to achieve great things, and that is why you have that great intelligence of yours. So let's get something underway from the tarot. There is the Hierophant, the 6 of Cups, something from in here, shall we? What's this? The 2 of Feathers. Wow, that's a nice picture. Death. And this one. The 9 of Coins. All right, my beloved, why don't you come down and we'll have a look at all of these cards together and see what they mean. All right, my beloved Gemini, let's see what these things have to say. Now, the overriding energy is this card here. Now, isn't that good? You have things coming your way, things that you are overcoming, things I think that are changing but are leading to a much better and brighter you. There is a period of transformation and of looking inside yourself and dealing with the thoughts that you have, but the result is one which is of this month, seeds of such fantastic things coming forward to you. Look at this image, let it sink into your subconscious and let it live with you every day. Victory. Victory is yours, and isn't that a great way to start? Now, I'm going to have a look at this card here, this Major Arcana, which is the Hierophant. We'll get to the other cards in due course, of course, as we always do. Now, what do we have to say about the Hierophant? You can see the Hierophant there. Well, what might I say about the Hierophant, what I call the magus of the eternal gods? I'd say that he is also saying that you are the knower of stars. He's a priest, he's a shaman, initiated into the movements of the planets and the wisdom of the serpent, guarding the keys to the realm of the unconscious. The gesture of your hand shows your calling, enlightened to choose the way of service to others, transforming suffering into knowing. You get to know the rhythm of the energies of the universe as it breathes upon you and heralds the magnificence of your existence. What else might I say about this card? Well, as I say, for me it is Venus in Taurus with the moon exalted, which is particularly good because Venus rules Taurus in ordinary astrology. I think Taurus, of course, is Earth, and this emphasizes the importance of applying your spiritual realizations into the day-to-day world. And so spirituality isn't something that's just expressed in a church, but it's expressed doing the washing up, loading the dishwasher, catching a bus. This is saying that I think that there may well be a feeling in here. This is not a time for you to become a revolutionary. Don't become a Che Guevara, or Guevara, whatever his name may be. You have to forgive me. This is a time, I think, where you really need to kind of just hold back a bit and follow some rules and regulations just for the time being. I think it's a period that may herald for you something of an intense learning, is what I'm getting from here. I think you might be spending a lot of time on the internet and surfing the net and just picking up knowledge, or it may be something to do with your work. Those of you who are studying, of course, at college will understand this, and those of you who are in training at workplaces will know this, but it could also be honing up on different recipes that you might want to be cooking at home. I think that you'll hear of somebody getting married here. If you're working in a large company, I think that this is particularly useful for you because I think that you are going to do well and you will find that you become, really appreciated for the work that you are doing in a large organization. And that may be in the teaching profession. It could be in IT, it could be in any number of those areas there. I think that you'll be gifted at imparting information and inspiring other people. I think you'll be very attracted to sounds and music during this period. You'll be good at listening and speaking and making your ideas tangible, which is great for you because you have so many ideas, don't you? That fine mind of yours bursting with ideas all the time. And look, I think that there's a real energy that I'm having here that you want to be challenged by new experiences. You may be, I think, there could be issues revolving around a family that need to be integrated. And certainly if you are not in teaching, consulting, or in the creative arts, these are things that I think are going to be very, very good for you. You'll have the talents of those things during this period. And here we have the card of Death. Now, well, this is an interesting looking death card, is it not? Let's have a look at it. Well, what do we have? Death. Well, as I said before, I think that there is going to be something of a period of transformation for you, something moving forward, a bit of cutting away of the old. This is, for me, very much a card which is Scorpio ruled by Mars, and Mars, a planet of fiery energy, which in this case, in this spread for you, the fiery energy of Mars is very much in its lowest form, that very aggressive lowest form, which we sometimes need to provoke us to move things, to move forward with things. And I think that this is what is going to be happening with you. There's some ending that's coming around, I think, something that's coming about and ending. I think that something in your life is dying or dissolving or disintegrating, whether it may be a structure that you have created, or it could be a pattern of thought or thinking about yourself and the world. And this is changing, and it's necessary for you to bring about new beginnings and transformations in your life. It is really a time of great transformation, I think, and of you, well, really facing your darkest fears, and but facing your fears without fear, because the darkest hour is just before the dawn. And this speaks to me very much, and certainly in the context of this card, which is here of victory, of these changes that you are going through are going to be really very good for you. You see, because in order for you to grow, you need to abandon the old. And death, I suppose, is our protection against stagnation. And you really need to leave behind, I think, those things which you have outgrown. This is a time of major transformation, cutting through to the core, snipping away, doing the pruning of the mental garden to allow the sunlight in and allow new things to grow. Very much that is the case. I'd have this thought in mind, and it is that I let go of people and situations with ease and with dignity. Every ending heralds the new beginning. Yeah. Very much the case for you. I suppose you have to ask yourself, really, what outdated situations or relationships are you engaging in at the moment? Let's have a look at this center card of the tarot, which is the Two of Feathers. And what can we say about this two? Well, I think one of the things that we can say about it is this, and I'm getting very much the feeling that is to bring the stream of your thoughts to a stop. Observe your inner dialogue. Maybe do so through meditation, and realize how chains of thoughts are formed and how they freeze into automatic thought patterns, doubting and pondering. Just for a moment, let your thoughts come to a standstill and feel the power of the space that lies between a dying and a newly formed thought. The Two of Feathers. Well, really, the moon ruling the first decan of Libra, and this is what I call the Lord of Peace. With the moon in the sign of Libra, I think that you are likely to have a very deep need for peace and harmony in your life. Libra is symbolized by the scales, isn't it? And it relates, obviously, to any area of your life that needs balance, and this includes your personal environment, your work, relationships with others. The actual purpose of this card is about neutrality, I think, being neither good nor bad, so in balance. That's the thing. In balance is where you are residing, and it is this balance, I think, which is the key to the victory, which is heralded by that opening communication from the spiritual realm. Now, it might well be that you are having something of a hard time making up your mind about something, or you can't make a choice. Now, it's not acute, but it's sitting in the background, I think, and surfaces every now and again. And I think I can kind of see you dealing with the pros and cons of a situation. I think you might lack the information you need to make the right decision at this time, but when you get it, it's like the light goes on and you can see the situation for what it is, and you'll be in a much better position to make the decision that is right for you. Really great card. Now this is you've got two fantastic cards coming up. Let's have a look at this one first. Here is the Six of Cups. And what this Six of Cups is saying to me is, I'm just getting the feelings of a wave, pleasure, harmony, and love. Feelings from your childhood arise, feeling secure, being held, being cared for, and loved. Become aware of everything associated with those feelings. What role did sayings and prayers play? How do they still work in your subconscious? Choose the healing and pleasant ones, and with every wave, you bring positive feelings into the present. Allow yourself to be carried by the waves, intimacy, openness, touching, and sexual pleasures. Allow yourself to open up to other people on an emotional level. Well, the astrology of this card for me is the sun ruling the second decan of Scorpio. At 3rd of November to about the 12th of November, if I'm not mistaken. So really what I'm getting here is this is the Lord of pleasure, indulgence, particularly sexual pleasure or sexual fantasy. A lot of sexual fantasy, and look, dreams are free, so there's nothing wrong with that. Also get communications with ancestors. You may be praying or something to ancestors, and it's also the case that there could well be some family support which is being called upon or which you are providing to people. I think what we can also say that this is perhaps a pleasure that is experienced after something which is about, I'm just looking at the colours around here, after what has been some hardship with you. The emphasis on this card is, I'll be frank, really about sexuality, whether played out or in fantasy, but in a harmonious and a balanced way. I think it's also the case that this is a time where you're going to be undergoing a period of healing and transformation. Well, this is also what this card was saying here, this death card, but the emphasis is also on relationship or a desire to have a relationship that is going to improve both the individuals, where the sum of the whole, or the sum of the parts rather, is more than the whole is more than the sum of the parts. That's what I'm trying to say. If I could actually get my brain to work. We have the 9 of coins. The 9 is the great spiritual number. The 9 is very much the great spiritual number. There's no doubt about it. It always returns in on itself. 9 3s are 27, 2 and 7 are 9, 9 2s are 18, 1 and 8 are 9, and you can do that forever and ever, and things will always be as they are. Back to 9. Now, what I'm getting from this is abundance. This might sound odd, but meditate on a stone and you will have abundance in your life. Abundance and treasure are not apparent, they are hidden in the ordinary and in the commonplace. Everybody can partake in this abundance of life. If your thoughts are directed towards the unattainable or things that you don't have, you will experience scarcity and not abundance. A state of emptiness is the prerequisite for experiencing fullness. If you've ever fasted, gone on a diet, then you'll know the intense taste of that first bite, won't you? Yeah. I think that what we can also say about this is that I see this as being a card of just such good opportunity for material gain in your life. I have Venus ruling the second. Let me pull it out so we can see it. I have Venus in the second decan of Virgo, the 3rd to the 12th of September. Now, Venus is concerned with love and with money. And these, I think, are both expressions of your values, pleasures, and tastes, aren't they? And Venus is saying that if your heart is pure and you follow your heart, your life can only gain from this, and good fortune is going to attend your material affairs. And of course, here's this great card of victory, which is here as well. I see gains, rewards for effort, realizing your goals. The seeds are in place now for the development of financial security, material security, and self-sufficiency. I think there are projects and situations and relationships that you have underway at the moment, and either one or more of them together are going to produce material gain for you. You're going to start moving ahead. Now, this card is not wealth, but what it's saying is that things are better than what they were before. And when you look back on this period, you'll say, gee, you know, he was right. I mean, this might be 12 months away, but you'll look back at this period and you'll say, you know, he was right after all, wasn't he? Great card to have, great card to have. Now, let's look at these, because these have something to say to us. We have a 10 of spades. I think that's about somebody else. All right, let's bring it in so we can have a good close look at what they might have to say to you. This 10 is saying to me that this is not relating to you, is what I'm getting. The reason for that is because of this other cards that are here. But I think that you are going to find out of or know somebody who is beset by worry and grief or anxiety, or that person receives some very unwelcome news. It could be to do with the cards don't necessarily suggest it just in the row of 3 here, but it could be to do with illness, health issues that have appeared for the person. And it could well be a great degree of fear that they have, particularly if change is concerned. Now, as for you, though, let's have a look at this 7 of spades. This is, I think, something which is actually more directly associated with you, and it is the, it's sort of, I'm getting the feeling here of something of removal about it. And, well, we were looking at this card, weren't we? Death, which was talking about transformation, which may involve removal of things. I think what it does is it represents the uncovering of a truth, or a removal, or a loss of some kind. I'd ask you just with this to be very careful of advice that you are given, because it could lead to loss. There may well be a time here where you have some quite introspective thoughts, going round and round in your head about former relationships or friendships or quarrels with friends or family or what have you. But this is something which you should dispel, as was the advice of this card, this 9 of coins. It was said there are things ahead for you which are great, and to also take that moment between thoughts and recognize that they are just thoughts. Thoughts are like clouds that go across a clear sky, and you are the clear sky, and the thoughts just have, they come and go. So don't be the cloud, be the sky, and just notice that you have thoughts, and that is all that you really need to be concerned about. Now, this card here is very interesting. That's coming up in your spread, and I see this card, well, one being ruled by Mars. It can also represent propositions or offers that are made to you. Changes can be there, freedom or loss. But I think that what it's really saying to you is in the nature of a life renovation, and that's consistent with these other cards that are coming through here. Because I think it signals a time, It signals that you feel that there is a need for change in your life. You are, in a sense, dissatisfied with the present environment and feel that there is a need to change it. Now, jealousy and anger can be apparent during this period of time, but this is a time for you to make plans and to take up new interests. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, there you go. It looks like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic month for you, and that's great because you deserve it. And I have to say, you were fantastic during that reading. All that remains for me to say is this, and remember it always, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, bye for now.